Hello everyone, I'm Pavel, a citation management specialist at the University of Washington Libraries, and today I'm going to show you how to install Mendeley. So to start off, I'm just going to Google Mendeley, and I'm just going to go to the home page, which is mendeley.com, and I'm going to click on Solutions up here in the top middle one. Now, Mendeley has many different things to install that you can use. The first is the Reference Manager, which is online, but this is a desktop app you can use. There's Mendeley Cite, which lets you use Mendeley in Microsoft Word. And then there's the web importer that makes it easier to gather sources from around the web. But to start off, what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to create an account. So I'm going to go over here, right? I already have an account, right? But let's say if you didn't, it would look like this, and it would ask you to type in your email or sign in via your institution. You're not going to want to sign in via your institution. Don't use that one. It actually is broken and it won't let you do it. The University of Washington doesn't have a subscription to Mendeley anyway. So instead, you're just going to type in your email over here. I used my UW email, but you can use your personal email or any email you want. But when I continue, it knows I have an account, and so it asks me to input my password. But if I use like a fake email here, it'll ask me for my name and to set up a password and to register an account. And that's basically what you want to do to register an account. Once you have your account registered, you can sign in like I'm doing here. And that account will be useful for everything else that we're going to do here. For example, downloading the Mendeley Reference Manager. I can click that link, or I can click on this link over here. They'll both take me to this page, and I'm going to click Download Now for Windows. And I'm going to save it on my desktop. Now, when I go to my desktop, you can see that it's over here, and I can just double-click it and then install it. I already have it installed. Installing it again is not going to change anything. But I'm just going to run it and finish. And it pops up. I can delete the application from my desktop. And this appears. And you get the same sign-in page. The problem with signing in via your institution, and I can show you why it doesn't work here. But basically, I have two-factor authentication on, and this desktop application doesn't let me authenticate. So if I use my NetID here, you can see that it just is a blank screen, and so we don't want that. So that's why we don't sign in via our institution. I'm going to open up Mendeley Reference Manager again. Instead, I'm going to do what I did when I created my account, and that's just to type in my email over here. And so it'll sign me in, right? And you can see I already have some site sources here, but it looks good. And so now that that's done, I'm going to go back to this page over here, and I'm going to install the web importer. To do that, I'm just going to open it in a new tab, and I'm just going to click Get Web Importer for Firefox, and then Add to Firefox. If you use Chrome, it'll just take you to the same page for Chrome, and I'm just going to add it. And then, because I have Firefox, it says it's added. It's hiding over here in this little caret menu. I'm just going to right-click it and unpin it from my overflow menu, so it stays over here on my toolbar where I can use it. Okay, lastly, I'm going to install Mendeley Cite. Oh, and I'm going to click it to double-check that it's set up. I consent to the use of this data. don't really have a choice if I want to use Mendeley. I mean, I guess if you trust Elsevier with your data, go for it. But yeah. Now I have the web importer set up, and it remembered my account. You might have to sign in again, but for me this looks good. I don't want to add this web page to my sources, so I'm just going to click X. Back to Mendeley Cite. I'm going to click Mendeley Cite, and you can see it takes me to this Microsoft App Source page. I'm just going to click Get It Now, and I'm going to click Get It Now again. It might make me sign into UW again, but no, looks like we're good. And I'm going to go ahead and open it in Microsoft Word. Choose Application Word. And it gives me this page with the add-in. And I can see on the right I have trust this add-in. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to click Got It. And you can see it appears over here in the top right of the References page, Mendeley Cite. And once you have all three of these things, you should be good. You can also access your reference manager by clicking Library over here. And it should take you to exactly the same thing. There's really no difference between these two. So yeah. Next, I'm going to show you how to navigate through the Mendeley Reference Manager. Okay, so now that I have the Reference Manager open, I don't need to have it open, but it's good to follow along. I'm going to go ahead and try and cite something on the UW catalog. So I'm in Library Science, so I'm just going to Google Library Science. And I'm just going to click the first article that shows up. It wants me to log in. Okay, here's an example article I found. I'm going to go ahead and check its availability, and you can see that there's no digital access, but let's just show how I would cite this if I got like the physical copy. I would just click over here on the top right on the Mendeley Web Importer, and so you can see that sometimes it's glitchy. This is the case, right? It's trying to figure out what this is, and it thinks there's a journal article but with no title and a PDF not found, or I can just cite the web page in general. I want to cite the article, so I'm going to choose a journal article, but I know that I'm going to do extra work. I'm just going to add it to my library right now, and I'm going to close out of it once I see the check mark. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to find the one with no title, and I'm going to see what it actually got. Okay, it didn't get anything. So I'm going to have to do this manually. Unless I can try another way to do it. Let's see. Okay, it has a DOI right here, so I'm just going to try and add it using the DOI. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to add a new, add it from the DOI. I'm going to look up its metadata, and it found it for me, so I'm just going to click Add Entry. And so now you can see that it's here successfully. I'm not sure why it didn't work on this one. Yeah, that's weird. But if I try and find another article, and I'm going to try and find one that has a PDF attached, just as an example. By searching available online. I can see here's an article. Let's say I want to use this article. I'm going to wait for the page to load. And you can see that it does have a PDF attached over here. So I'm actually going to go to this link, and it's going to sign me in, and then I'm going to click the web importer on the top right. And so now when I do this, you can see it finds 5 references on the page. The one we want is this one, redefining information science. And unfortunately, it also doesn't find the PDF for this one. That's okay. We can get the PDF later, and I'll show you how to do that. And so now that it's checked, I can close the tool, and I'm going to click the PDF over here, and it's going to open the PDF for me, and I'm going to save it as I'm just going to save it in my desktop as redefining information science. And so now, if I open up the desktop manager app, I can find it over here, right? And then I can scroll to files, and I can click this plus, and then I can just double click this one and choose open, and it'll upload the file for me, and now I have it over here stored. Okay, and let's say I have a web page or an article I want to cite, like this news article. I can click over here on the web importer, but instead of looking for a source, I'm just going to click web page, and I'm going to choose this one. And not everything is filled out on web pages so I'm going to go ahead and add that all manually. So I can see this. You can go over here, publication 3 hours ago, so that's New York Times 5/12. I'm not going to I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my library. And now when I go back here, you can see that the article is all in here as well. And that should be everything you need to add articles to your reference manager. Okay, so now that I have articles in my library, I'm going to show you how to keep everything organized and sort through everything. You can see on the reference manager there's a series of tabs, so I'll just go through these and show you how they all work. Recently added are just articles that are recently added. You can see the 3 we added before are here. Recently read are the last things I've opened the files for. Favorites, pretty self-explanatory. I can mark things as a favorite. My publications, you don't really need to worry about this right now. And the trash, things I've deleted. Collections are how I group things. So you can see I don't actually have anything in these collections, so I can go ahead and delete them. But what I can do is I can click New Collection, and I can name this one Spring 2022 Citation Management. And I can go ahead and click on this collection. And there's nothing in it right now, but if I go back to my references, I can choose the 3, and I can drag. I think I have to drag all of them at once. I think I have to drag them one at a time. But I can drag them all to the collection, and then they appear over here in this collection. And so that just keeps everything in your library organized if you have a lot of sources. Now, with each of these sources, whenever I add them to Mendeley, I always want to go over here to info and I just want to make sure that all this information is correct. And it looks like it's correct. And now that I have them in the collection, the next time I want to add a source, like, say, for example, Mendeley searching, right? If I want to just try COVID-19, for example, I can go ahead and I can click this source and add it to my library. If I were to use the web importer, I can specify which collection I wanted to add it to. But because I didn't do that, I just clicked the add to my library. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to just move that into the collection manually. Then there are two other tabs up here, Annotations and Notebook. Notebook just has general notes throughout your collection, right? They're not unique to these any source. So like if I wanted to say COVID and libraries, etc., and just some general notes, you can see that it'll stay with me regardless of the source I have. Annotations, these general notes, are unique to the source. So that with this COVID diagnosis, I can write remember page 23, for example, and that'll just stay on this source. I can click Get PDF here, and there's an error. That's unfortunate. But for the one we do have a PDF of, we can also go ahead and once we attach the file, we can go ahead and read it in Mendeley by clicking the read button. And it might take a little bit to load as it syncs. And while you do that, you can go ahead and add tags. These are just anything you want to add. Like this one is about information science, so I can just write information. And then I can search and sort by the tags in my library. Okay, what's going on with you? It's thinking about it. It is thinking about it. And I open it here. Okay, now it shows me the correct. Now it shows me the correct page. I don't know why the desktop version is being weird. The desktop version is basically like its own web browser for the web version. So if something doesn't, there might be some bugs. Okay, so it looks like it's doing this for every PDF. Give me a minute while I look online and see if anyone else has this problem. Okay, I looked online and I couldn't find anything. So I'm assuming that whatever's wrong is probably just wrong with my computer. I might need to restart it. So I'm just going to show you it from online. It's the same interface, but basically you have some tools you can use in your library. Highlight text, for example. If I click on this one, I can highlight important text. There we go. I can highlight around, and just basically anything that's interesting to me, I can highlight. I can also add these comments, right? So if I click somewhere with this comment, like important, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, and then you can click on it and you can see what exactly is important. This will let you zoom in more. You can change the color of your highlights. You can rotate your PDF, which is definitely useful if, like, your professor gives you a PDF that's sideways, which they love doing. But the important thing to notice here is that if you click annotations, you can see that the comments I make appear over here in the right column. And so you can see them easily. Now, the annotations you make here will follow you from collection to collection, but not group to group. So if I go back to my library here and I check the same one in a different collection, you can see the highlights and the comments still stay. However, if I have a group library, for example, I wanted to add it to test group 2, if I click on it, you can see that there's no annotations, and the annotations over here are gone. There's no way for you to get your annotations and share them with others. Even though I have highlights and comments, if I try to download it, it just shows the unannotated PDF. And there's pretty much no way around this. So I would be very careful about if you need to work in groups using the annotations on Mendeley, because if I annotate the PDF over here in my all references or in my collections, and then if I wanted to share it with someone, I can't download the file and send the annotations, and I can't create a new group and drag it over. So just be very careful with that. Yeah, I think that's everything about annotations. I can show you how to create new groups. It's very simple. You just type the name of your group, test group 3. You can see I'm great at naming things. And then I can go ahead, right click it, and click manage group, and then just invite members over here. With the free version, there's you have a max of 25 people, but you can just type in their email addresses and send the invites. It's pretty simple. And everyone in the group can see the same article. They can view the PDF, and the annotations you make here in the group library are shared between everyone. So if I highlight this, everyone else will see it. But I have to start out by making it in a group library. Yeah, I think that's everything about groups and sharing. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you is how to cite your sources using using Microsoft Word and Mendeley Reference Manager. So I'm going to start by clicking References, and then going to go over here and click Mendeley Cite. And this little side column is going to pop up. It might ask me for my username and password, or it might remember me. It doesn't remember me, so I'm going to type in my username. And it'll pop up over here. And so now what I want to do is I want to go to the group or the collection that's relevant, and you can see all my sources are here. Now let's say I'm writing about this COVID-19 diagnosis. Pascarella claims that, quote, and I want to cite it in text. I can go ahead and click this one, and I can insert one citation. And you can see it's over here, et al. 2020. If I go over here to citation style, you can see that it's APA 7th edition. That's what I want. I can choose one of these instead or select another style, but I'm fine with APA 7th. I can, if I want to manually override the citation, I can. Like, for example, since I already reference this author et al. In the sentence itself, in APA guidelines, I don't have to include the name in the end. So what I want to do is I can click this and then click manually override the citation, and I can delete the name. Oops. Also, in APA, if I include a direct quote, I need to include the page number. So I'm going to go ahead and add that here, and then click Save. And now you can see it's appeared in the right format. Information science is cool. Now, if I have a source, an idea that's backed up by multiple sources, I can go ahead and click one and another and just insert two citations at the same time. And you can see it's formatted properly, and if I want, I can manually override over here again if I need to. The last thing I want to do is make a works cited page. Now that I've got my brilliant essay, I can go ahead and have a works cited page over here. And I can go ahead and click Insert Bibliography. And it'll be inserted at my cursor location, which is down here. Yes, and I'm going to click Continue. And so now you can see that Mendeley just went ahead and added this for me. An important thing to know is that you should never edit this or these by yourself. If you need to change the like if you realize that this date is incorrect or something, you should go back to the reference manager. You should find your source. For example, this is Passarella. Click on it, and then change it over here by clicking Additional Information, or the year over here, and changing it like that. Yeah, but besides that, that should be everything you need to cite sources using Mendeley.